And here's a third thing. Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, I'm under the impression that a number of the devotees from the Farmington Hills ISKCON Center went to attend the Sadhu Sangha retreat, which is the same weekend as the weekend I was doing this in Gitanagari. Just so happened, very, very similar theme, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. The emphasis, I understood, in the Sadhu Sangha retreat was take the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam, take it inside, and give leadership to others in the world and Sangha of Vaishnavas, leadership according to the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. At least that's what I'm under that impression. That was the theme. And this theme was in Gitanagari, same Srimad Bhagavatam, refuge for the age of Kali. Now, since there were a few, but not so many devotees from the Detroit area attending the Gitanagari retreat, I thought the topics are nice. I love Srimad Bhagavatam, so I'll do a rerun with part. There's some improvements or embellishments or things from what I presented in Gitanagari, and so that's my plan. But it's a little bit not just for new people. It's a little bit for people who've been around a little bit. So I'll kind of like go slowly and try to make it intelligible for people that are kind of on the newer side. Now, just yesterday, I received word from the devotees in ISKCON Naperville. Where's Naperville? Where's Farmington Hills? Farmington Hills is a suburb of Detroit. Naperville is a suburb of Chicago. And this temple was established before that temple. So here's a challenge for all of you stalwart ISKCON Farmington Hills temple. They're so inspired by Srimad Bhagavatam distribution as well as reading that they have a plan, they have a team already planning for the upcoming Bhadra Purnima to distribute. You want to guess how many sets of Bhagavatams they want to target between now and Bhadra Purnima? You want to guess? I'll challenge you guys. Do half of what they do and you'll be doing a great job. They're doing 500. Last year they did 400. This year they're doing 500. And I told Vaisheshik Prabhu, and you should have seen him dance. Vaisheshik Prabhu was our book distribution minister for North America. Now, the temple that he's connected with, they're in six figures. They're amazing devotees. And they're inspired by an amazing devotee. So give it some thought. I'm being kind of funny or sarcastic or joking or teasing, but it's important. Why is it important? Because it's the refuge for this age of Kali. In fact, we're going to recite one verse that we recited during the Gitanagari retreat. It's here on the screen. You can chant it with me. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim swarsatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. One more time. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Translation. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Now this is the 4th verse in chapter 2, and chapter 2 is the beginning of the answers to the 6 questions that were asked in chapter 1. Those of you not familiar with the Bhagavatam, this is a little overview of how the structure of the Bhagavatam works. The structure of the Bhagavatam works in the format of question-answer. There's a person questioning, that's the student, or the disciple, or the one that wants to know, and then there's the one that knows, responding to the questions asked by the one who wants to know. In this case, the speaker in Canto 1, Chapter 1, is Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami is the son of Romaharshan Sutta. When Vyas divided the Vedas, part of it, and compiled them, one of his parts of the Vedas was the Puranas and the Itihasas, or the history section. There's the philosophy section and there's the history section. The history section explains and gives examples illustrating the philosophy section. They go perfectly well together. It's not different teachings, it's just the format is different. So Romaharshan Sutta had a son. He was entrusted by Vyasadeva to that vast body of literature, and he tossed that vast body of literature to his son, Sutta. And Sutta was in the audience when Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for the first time. So the first canto is largely Sutta speaking, basically what he heard from Shukadeva. So it's a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam in the format of questions and answers. So since he, Sutta, heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, the sages were really enthusiastic, not kind of casual, enthusiastic to hear what he heard. To hear what he heard, they asked questions. Like, now, what did you hear? But the first question, which we're going to be discussing this evening, this midday, afternoon, is the Vedas are very, very, very vast. Could you please summarize the essence of that vast body of Vedic wisdom and how to achieve its purpose, how to achieve that essence? Good question, isn't it? Good question. So yesterday, I visited 2 places, Lansing and Grand Rapids, and we talked about the first part of his response, Sutta's response to that question. And now we're going to another level, but it's still the same question. And it's an important verse from Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 18. And we'll chant this one responsively. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtuki. One more time. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. So in this verse there's several very essential terms. The last word is naishtaki, or attaining the stage of nishtha. There's a stage before nishtha, which means steady. It's unsteady. Unsteady comes before steady. And anishtata and nishtata, or naistaki. Unsteady may become steady. And that unsteady becomes steady when nashta means destroyed, abhadreshu. Abhadra, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, but I've been around a few years, so I know a few terms. Bhadra means auspicious. And Balaram and Jagannath have a sister. Her name is Subhadra. Subhadra. And then there's the opposite, Abhadra. Auspicious, very auspicious, inauspicious, Abhadra. Or another term that's used interchangeably with Abhadra, or it's similar, quite similar, is something unwanted. Something wanted is artha. Something unwanted, anartha. Most people take artha to mean money, 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 money. Economic development. Dharma artha. Why people do dharma is they want artha. They want prosperity. And then what do they want? Prosperity? Kama. Sense enjoyment. With their prosperity, they get an upgrade in better sense enjoyment. And when that kind of fizzles, it really didn't work, moksha. Frustration with it didn't work. So, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These four are elements, standard approaches that people take to the Vedas. But there's a fifth approach, and that's become free from artha and free from anartha. You're squeaky clean. And then there, in the mid between nishta and abhadra, there's a third word, that's prayeshu. Prayeshu means almost to nil. Now, bhakti has the power to destroy up to nil. But this is describing a stage of bhakti. One of the stages of bhakti, before there's perfection, there's steadiness. When the stage of steadiness is there, it's like the mode of goodness. According to Bhagavad Gita, even when the mode of goodness is present in someone or something, there's a mixture of the lower modes, tama and rajas. Traces, at least, residual traces. So it's not squeaky clean yet, but it's clean, more or less. I mean, more, not less. More mode of goodness means less ignorance, passion. So that's what this is describing. The stage of bhakti, which the previous verse is describing the stages, the process of bhakti itself, which I'm not going to review because of time. I want to focus on this nishtha, the steady stage of bhakti. And the method, nityam bhagavata sevaya. Nityam literally means always, and a graceful always is regularly, or every day. Or in Rupa Goswami's language, audinam, every day. Like you brush your teeth. You take a bath, probably in reverse order. And then you make the outside clean, put on clean clothes. You do the outside, then you do the inside. And the inside is something that should be done every day. Audinam, every day, every day, every day. Nityam bhagavata sevaya. Sevaya, we all know, it means service. And Bhagavata is derived from Bhagavan. There's just like Krishna's father's name is Vasudeva. So Krishna's name is Vasudeva. This is a Sanskrit rule. So Krishna is Bhagavan, and that is, which is in relation to Bhagavan, is Bhagavata. So there's two Bhagavatas. The book, this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Bhagavat Purana. And then there's the person who lives their life according to the Bhagavata. So, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati, in relation to Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka is a nice word. It's one of Krishna's names. Shloka, we all know, verse, or sounds. Sound, one who is glorified in the best way. Uttama Shloka. Uttama, topmost. Uttama, above Tama. Uttama Shloka. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Bhavati means like the French word, voila. Anybody knows French? When I was in high school, I took 5 years of French. Even before I was in high school, I was taking French. Voila. So be it. There it is. Voila. Bhavati. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Bhakti comes just, voila. Bhavati. It just, bhakti is within, but we want not just bhakti within, we want bhakti all around to come out and be part of our personality, part of our experience of life, part of our way of interacting with other people and other things, the world around us. Bhaktir Bhavati. How does that happen? Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So here's the translation, Prabhupada's translation. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering Bhagavata Seva, service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart, that's the abhadra stuff, unwanted stuff, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Keep going, it becomes completely destroyed, but it's a stage, the nishtha stage or naishtaki stage, almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality Godhead who is praised by transcendental songs, Uttama Shloka, is established as an irrevocable fact. That's this naishtaki. It's a stage where there's still traces of tama and rajas. There's still traces of abhadras. But bhakti is so strong, they can't act. I will touch on this topic again. There's still traces, but they can't act. So now, we're going a little bit, another level, same message, but another level. This is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some of you know the verse. If you know the verse, you can say it with me. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Maturava Sri Murtiya Shrataya Shrivan Sakala Sadhana Shrestha E Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmaya E Panchera Alpa Sangha. Alpa means a little bit. Alpa. Like people are less intelligent, they're Alpa Medasam. Alpa, very little. So a little Sangha, even a little. Here's the translation. This is a verse by Krishnadas Kaviraj describing 5 very important activities in bhakti, starting with association with advanced devotees, Namakirtan, chanting Harinam in their association. Because what do you do with sadhus? You do with sadhus what sadhus do. That's called bhajana kriya. Or Namakirtan. And we'll hear, Nama Kirtan doesn't mean only Nama, it's all the other limbs, but most prominent of them is Nama. We'll hear. We'll say it. There are different recommended activities for all of us. And any of the 9 processes of bhakti are recommended for any one of us. And, not but, and most prominent of those vidhis for a Vaishnava is Namakirtan. And in these 5, Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, it's like a spear that has a tip. And it's the tip of the spear. And very behind the tip of the spear is the shaft of the spear. But this tip of the spear enters first. And then comes everything else. That's how Prabhupada started the Hare Krishna movement. Really simple. Really simple. I mean, prasadam, but just chanting Hare Krishna mantra. I have one of these little recording, not playback devices. Maybe you've seen them, about this big, they're red. You can get them in any shop in Vrindavan. And I've listened to the whole thing several times, and I'm listening to the final stage, and it's Prabhupada recording kirtan. When there weren't any instruments, other than he had a pair of kartals. And he's just singing, just himself in the room. And then gradually there's people that are responding. And then gradually he's having someone else lead and he's responding. And then they have instruments, so it's like a progression of the recordings. But it's how the Hare Krishna movement began. It's why it's the Hare Krishna movement. It's not instead of something else. The Hare Krishnas. I probably travel more than I should, but one of the things I like about travel is when people see a devotee, they say, Hare Krishna. I'm thinking, wow, Prabhupada's magic. Because it's beneficial, eternally beneficial. Just to say Hare Krishna. Even Shishupal, he said Hare Krishna. We didn't say Hare Krishna, he said Krishna. Prabhupada named, when I was initiated, the day that I was initiated, he named one of my godbrothers, Chediraj, which is the name of Shishupal, because Shishupal was the king of Chedi, so he's Chediraj. But Chediraj was a nice devotee, and he really liked kirtan. He was like, anyway, back to verse. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan. Mathura Vas, reside in Mathura. Shraddhaya Sevan. Shraddhaya Sevan. And worshipping the deity, Sri Murtaya, Murtira Shraddhaya, worshipping the deity with faith. These 5 links of bhakti are taught, which is taken directly from Rupa Goswami's writings. It's just a rewrite in Bengali by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Even a slight alpa sangha with any one of these 5, there's a small qualifier, without offense, then it can cause the awakening of Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema Janma, a Panchera Alpa Sangha. So very, very important. So I'm going to focus now on Bhagavat Shravan or Bhagavat Seva. And there are 2 types. There's the person Vaishnava or person Bhagavat, and then there's the hearing from the Bhagavat Shravan, the hearing of the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we'll start with the first of the 2. Vaishnava Seva. Now, newer persons here don't know who Narottam Das Thakur is, but some of you have been around for a while, you certainly know who Narottam Das Thakur is. And this is from one of his songs. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keva, Bengali. Unless one serves the Vaishnava, one cannot get liberation from the material clutches, because it's through Vaishnava Seva that Krishna is pleased. And how can you get free from the clutches of Maya if Krishna is not pleased? You can try. Good luck. And Bhagavat Shravan is hearing from the person hearing the book. Now this Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat, is like the person Bhagavat or the Vaishnava who's living the life of the Bhagavat, but the glory of this particular verse that we just recited together, 1 to 18, is described in several places in Scripture. One of those places is shown on the screen. It's Tattva Sandarbha. Because of the time and circumstance, I'm not going to go into what is Tattva Sandarbha, please. It's a very important literature by Jiva Goswami that's explaining the role of Srimad Bhagavatam in understanding Krishna. I could take 10 minutes to describe more, but it's the primary means of knowing Krishna. Jiva Goswami is a fan of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he wants to talk about Krishna. So he writes, before I speak about what I want to speak about, Krishna, best to identify what's the best way to know the topic of Krishna before I speak about Krishna. And he goes through a long exercise, very astute, very simple, very thoughtful, scripturally based. The best way to know Krishna is through Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's like 50 steps to get there. But the best way is Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he establishes, in what's shown on the screen here, according to Scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna. Or Krishna is non-different than Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna. And to support that understanding, he makes 4 references. One of them is on the screen. It's from Skanda Purana, where Skanda Purana, another one of the Puranas, speaks about Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam and the personality Godhead are always of the same nature, possessed of eternal existence, full of knowledge and complete bliss. So when we were in Gita Nagari discussing this, someone, a learned devotee, raised his hand and said, I get the eternal existence and full of knowledge part, but where's the complete bliss part? Krishna's form, Satchit, Ananda, and the Bhagavatam, Satchit, but where's the Ananda part? And here's there's 2 nice ways to answer. There's probably more than 2. There's 2 nice ways to answer. Within the Bhagavatam, the descriptions of Krishna, who is Satchit Ananda, stimulate ecstatic love for Krishna. So when ecstatic love for Krishna is awakened by the messages about Krishna, then one experiences Ananda because it's built within the topics of Krishna. And therefore, complete bliss. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written, when we find emphasis on the importance of chanting the name, Nama Kirtan, he establishes that Nama Kirtan must be accompanied with Hari Katha. Just like we don't worship Krishna without Radha. We don't worship Ram without Sita. We don't worship Narayan without Lakshmi. We don't worship the name without Hari Katha, because that's the feminine counterpart of the name. The name is masculine, and the feminine counterpart is the Vedas, or Hari Katha. Hari Katha is feminine, of the Katha of Hari. That's the worship of Radha, and therefore that's the Ananda aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Hari Katha. It's a nice understanding. And there's others. So moving right along. This verse that we chanted together, and the focus of this topic is 1 to 18, or the stage of Nishta. And it's a topic that's discussed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. That's an image at the top. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote a whole book on this process of removing abhadras. So naturally, the topic has reference to the Srimad Bhagavatam verse that we just recited. To remove abhadras, there are 4 types of sources from which abhadras or unwanted things arise. 1, something unwanted arises from sins. That's easy to understand how it arises. Then there's 2 others that are a little less easy to understand. Unwanted tendencies of the heart that arise from pious activities. The reason is, when there's piety, there's fruits of piety. And the tendency is to be the enjoyer of the fruits of piety. Piety is fine. The fruits of piety is fine. Being the enjoyer of the fruits of piety is not fine. It blocks bhakti. Wanting to be the enjoyer of the fruits of piety, it blocks bhakti. So don't stop being pious. Be pious. But stop being trying to be, aspiring to become the enjoyer of your fruitive activities. And then there's another category that's similarly puzzling. Bhakti that's successfully performed. What happens when bhakti is successfully performed? People pat you on the back. Or they call you up in front of the room and say, let's hear some Hari Bols for this Prabhu, because he just cooked such a nice feast, or he ran such a nice Rath Yatra festival, or he's the organizer of the temple, and he dressed the deity so nicely. Let's be a big Hari Bols. And this boy was thinking, yes. Now I'm getting recognized. That's very nice. Labha Puja Pratishta. It's not... how Vaishnava should act with another Vaishnava is to recognize them. And the one who's thinking, yes, I'm the enjoyer, I deserve it, I work, I sacrificed, I deserve praise, thank you. And I'm the enjoyer of it. It's a problem. It can be a problem. Praise isn't a problem. Trying to be the enjoyer of it, or having a title. So those are 3. Then there's a 4th one. Then the 4th, from which unwanted things or anarthas arise, is offense. Aparadha. And here's the breakdown of the Sanskrit word aparadha. Apa, that which drives away, and radha, not radha, but radha. One's desired perfection is driven away by aparadha. And that which leads to aparadha is lack of respect, starting with nam aparad, say it the other way. When there's proper respect, then you offer due respect. But when there isn't proper respect, there should be proper respect, then it's disrespect. Or the absence of respect. Or it can be, explicitly, like Shishupal. Disrespect. More than disrespect. Blaspheming. So there's shades. But aparadha is induced by anadara. So Rupa Goswami, some of you like to read Prabhupada's books. So you'll like this one if you like to read Prabhupada's books. In Nectar of Instruction, Prabhu. Yeah. You know Nectar of Instruction? Have you taught it or you studied it? You're studying it. Okay. Text number 7 of Nectar of Instruction speaks about not having a taste for the holy name. In fact, it tastes bitter. Like someone that has jaundice they take something, rock candy, mishri, and have you had jaundice before? I've had jaundice before. And it's true. Rock candy tastes bitter. Rock candy's not bitter. Rock candy is concentrated sweet. But you take rock candy when you have jaundice. Ooh. That's mild bitter. Depends on how severe your jaundice is. But that's the cure for jaundice. It's one of the cures. Just take rock candy. It tastes bitter. So similarly, the chanting of the holy name, one may not have a taste for the holy name, the sweetness of the holy name, but if you continue taking the medicine, and there's two qualifiers, adjectives, adara, read Nectar of Instruction, text number 7. The two things Rupa Goswami recommends is adarat. It's a certain grammatical construction with respect. Or the way Prabhupada has translated the word adara is carefully. But you do something carefully because you respect that something. Without elaborating. Respect and every day, audinam, those two adjectives. You take rock candy not just once, then the thing is cured. But it takes a while. And if you're not respectful when engaging with something that's transcendental, it could be a Vaishnava aparad becomes namaparad. And when there's aparad, or that which drives away one's desired perfection, that's a problem. And it can be situated in the heart, and it's much more difficult to get rid of than sin or piety, fruits of piety, or devotional service nicely performed, and the fruits that come from devotional service nicely performed. It's insidious. Beware of aparad. And here's the same person, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, has written his commentary on the entire, every verse in the Bhagavatam, and from his verse in the Bhagavatam, his commentary, aparads are weakened as one progresses towards the nishtha stage. That's our topic for this class, the nishtha stage. Gradually, not all at once. But one has to do with respect every day for a period of time. Take your medicine. That's the proper is not just chant, but chant with due respect. Every day, and hear the Bhagavatam every day, and serve the Vaishnavas every day. And gradually, the aparad becomes weakened, and that's the nishta stage. Gradually, up until the weakening continues up until the mature bhava stage. When sadhana becomes matured, it moves from sadhana to bhava. I'll say it again. Some of you like reading Prabhupada's books. And one of those books that Prabhupada wrote was a summary study of Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He called it Nectar of Devotion. There's 3 topics in Nectar Devotion: Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. So, Sadhana Bhakti is complete when all unwanted things in the heart are gone. Like, not mostly gone, but completely gone. Squeaky clean. And what happens next is the stage of Bhava. So the weakening of unwanted things goes right up until the cusp of the Bhava stage. And then squeaky clean. And then you're flying. Not just taking flying lessons on the ground, simulated, but you are flying in the stage of transcendental ecstasy, not just happiness, I feel good. It's ecstasy. But the ecstasy is not, it's subjective, but it's no longer about me, it's about the object. As long as it's about me, you're stuck, unfortunately. And one more point. when it attains the Nishtha stage, the mind can easily concentrate on the Lord. Now just two more points and I'm done. You will see if there's discussion. So get ready for the discussion part. This very same verse is discussed in Bhakti Sandarbha. What's Bhakti Sandarbha? It's one of the 6 Sandarbhas we saw before, the cover of Tattva Sandarbha. So this is Bhakti Sandarbha, it's one of the 6. And in one of the 6, Rupa Goswami makes reference, it's Bhakti Sandarbha number 13 in this book, pictured here. It's Bhanu Swami's translation, the cover of the book. Text 13, he refers to the same verse that we recited. It's an important verse. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. It's that verse. The Nishtha stage, he explains, this verse shows the superiority of bhakti over gyan, because steadiness is the topic of the verse, and steadiness, according to this verse, can be achieved even before unwanted things are completely gone. It's prayeshu. Pretty good. You get an 8 out of 10, or a 7 out of 10, but you don't have to be 10. But still, bhakti is so powerful. It's so powerful that even there's still residual tendencies within. They can't act because bhakti is overpowerful. So much light from bhakti that the darkness can't act. As opposed to the gyan process. And the gyan process, he explains, that for steadiness, for a jnani to be achieved, such a person, to achieve liberation, to achieve that state, then all unwanted things of the heart have to be completely taken away. But bhakti, that's not so. It's a stage where it's not completely gone, but bhakti is so strong, it's unimpeded. It removes the influence of the residual tendencies. I hope it's clear. And last but not least, this is, again, we're going back to Tattva Sandarbha. And remember, what Tattva Sandarbha is doing, Jiva Goswami is establishing if you want to know Krishna and speak about Krishna, you have to know Bhagavatam, because it's the best authority to know the subject, Krishna. So Jiva Goswami again makes reference to this 1 to 18 verse, the Nishtha verse from the Bhagavatam, and says, those who are doing that, then again making reference, indirect reference to Rupa Goswami's writings, with utsahandishchayat daryat, or enthusiasm, patience, and firm conviction, they continue and continue and continue hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, removing unwanted things from within the heart, and then the Nishtha stage can be achieved, where almost all of the unwanted things are gone. And then one can be steady. Steadiness in bhakti. Just by practice, one can reach this steadiness stage. Before the steadiness, there's unsteadiness. You're wide awake now. Ganatarla is the stage of unsteadiness. Thick and thin. Like a sine curve. Unsteady devotional service. Sometimes and sometimes. Unsteady. But steady is where it's steady. And to get to steady from unsteady, it takes purification. It takes some sincere effort. of something that's genuine. And that there's something that's genuine is this verse that we just recited. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavatam, regularly rendering service to the person Bhagavata and hearing regularly Srimad Bhagavatam. Then you can get to the Nishtha stage. And gradually, the unwanted things are removed. Almost to nil, and then to nil. He then goes on to describe, in that Nishtha stage, very shortly thereafter, there's stage and attachment, and bhava, bhakti, follows naturally. Just gradually, and then you're fine. And then spontaneous, raga bhakti, spontaneous devotion. Suppose we're not a spontaneous devotee. We've become a regulated devotee. Follow the regulations without listing them. And, performing the do's and being careful about the do-nots. The 4 regular principles, etc., for the sake of purification. For the sake of purification means coming closer to Krishna. That's purification. And then you can feel it as you're getting closer to Krishna. There's unsteadiness before steadiness. So it's sometimes feeling more, sometimes feeling less. But stay with it. In good association, nityam bhagavata sevaya, you're on the right track. So let's see if there's some discussion. I've probably gone over time already. It's 2:00. What time am I supposed to end? 15 minutes ago? Huh? 2:15. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the wonderful narration. Maharaj, I have a question. The fruits of piety, you said like somebody is getting glorified. I know we should not take it, but sometimes personally I feel embarrassed when that glorification is done because I know what I am. So how one should take? I heard that it has to be passed on to Guru, but is there a reference for that, and how one should take it?
Credit should go to where credit came from. It just, if your light's on, it's not you, it's where that thing that somebody is appreciating came from. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Krishna's mercy, it's all Krishna's mercy. Krishna takes away look at Arjuna. He couldn't even stop cowherd men from protecting the queens as they're going back to Hastinapur. Because his power to protect came from Krishna. So if Krishna takes the power, he can't do anything. So you can think of so many examples, but it goes to the source from which this something that somebody is honoring. Now, your example is not fruits of piety. Your example is devotional service nicely performed. But that's okay, making that distinction. If someone offers some praise, you just pass it on, as you said. If it doesn't stick, you don't say, no, Prabhu, please don't do that. No. We're not impersonalists. Thank you. The person that you should be appreciated is, you point towards someone that should be appreciated. As Prabhupada did, have I done something wonderful? I've just carried out the instruction of my spiritual master. And then, the transparent. All that I've done is I'm just a postal peon. I'm carrying the message without adulterating the message. If there's some credit that I haven't adulterated the message, I delivered the message without adulterating the message. No compromise. So he would stand firm on that, but the credit is carrying out the instruction without compromise. He wanted to teach. So each person has a different nature and different way at different time and circumstances. Credit goes to the person who is offering the praise, or to the person. It doesn't stick. That's all. Okay. Something else.
Maharaj, really grateful to you for going so insightful about Srimad Bhagavatam.
I love Srimad Bhagavatam. That's my excuse.
I also want to get there someday, Maharaj, by your mercy.
Just keep reading it in association of devotees. Go ahead.
Maharaj, you beautifully mentioned about the stage of Nishtha. Please forgive me for my lack of understanding. You beautifully mentioned saying that the unwanted things are not completely gone. There are some traces of it, but they are not affecting. Like the darkness is not affecting.
Yes, light.
I was just thinking about the example about Bharat Maharaj. He was even beyond Nishtha stage.
Yes, he was.
But he got attached to a deer.
Yes.
So how is the darkness is affecting him when he's already beyond?
He made a choice. Misuse of free will makes it possible. He not only became attached to the deer, but before becoming attached to the deer, he stopped his devotional practice. He made a choice. Misuse of free will makes ignorance possible, even in the bhava stage. It's an illustration that it's possible. Even so, how can it touch him? By making the wrong choice. Otherwise, he's protected. But you choose otherwise, and Krishna didn't put on the brake pedal. There wouldn't be love if there wasn't free will. When there's free will, it can be properly or improperly used. He made a wrong choice, and then became attached. So don't make wrong choices. Even your advanced devotee, don't make wrong choices. Next. Yeah, just shout. Praise and appreciation, and what's the difference?
Yeah, and how as devotees, because there's a need for appreciation sometimes.
Speak into the microphone.
There is a need, for appreciation just to keep us going, to keep that, it's like an encouragement.
Yeah.
So how do I identify, like certain times I want to make sure that I'm not going on this side of the line, but.
Well, you're less than perfect like most of the rest of us. So you're going to make mistakes this side and that side like the rest of us. So therefore, what to do? What to do is be genuine and recognize who you are, and to whatever degree you can recognize who you are, you can get a sense of who the other person is. And so not too much and not too little, depending upon who you are and the other person. And when you're doing that, you're monitoring, it's not disgenuine, you're just being, circumspect about who you are and who the other person is and what they can handle. But the principle is encouragement. It's like a child. You want to encourage, but you don't want to just flatter them and butter them up and have them become, cuckoo. And they don't get praise, and then they start pouting and whining and misbehaving, and so they get attention another way. So, knowing the other person, appropriate encouragement. It takes thoughtfulness to do that carefully. Now, where does thoughtfulness come from? It comes from Super Soul. Dadami Bodhi Yogam Tam. Intelligent people get intelligence from the source of intelligence. And then some other people don't get intelligence at all. So be intelligent and make your choices wisely. And the center is Krishna is to be pleased. So here's me and here's the other person. I want to encourage them. I'm scanning the possibilities of encouraging them before just blabbering. I want to encourage, but I want to encourage in a way that it's going to have a good result. And you can't determine the result because they're going to make choices based upon their mindset, etc. But you do the best you can, imperfect being that we are, that Krishna should be pleased. The end result is they become more enlivened to serve Krishna. It's just like the little thing that I did at the beginning, about how many Bhagavatam sets between now and Bhadra Purnima. I mean, it wasn't sarcastic, but it was meant as an encouragement. You're a young, thriving, prosperous community. And you can do probably much more than, small time. And the purpose is not compete. The purpose is Krishna will be pleased. Purity will be achieved. The emphasis that I gave to this group is make sure that you have a plan for reading the Bhagavatam after the Bhagavatam sets go into people's home. Reading groups. Plan it with organizers that will facilitate. People don't have to, but it's an opportunity once they have the Bhagavatam set in their home to do something with it besides it goes on the bookshelf. Why? Because it's pleasing to Krishna and our disciplic succession. The world will become purified. The light of the Bhagavat will enter into the darkness of the siege of Kali more, which is wanted by our disciplic succession and Krishna himself. That's why the Bhagavatam appeared at the beginning of the siege of Kali. So, with that in mind, it's I said it with the intention of encouragement. I didn't mean to na 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 na. Encouragement. And a serious type of encouragement. And I can't do it like Vaisheshika Prabhu could do it. But that's okay. He does what he does and I do what I do. And inspire, encourage to take another step in the direction of it. And some people are going to go to the Rath Yatras instead. And some people are going to go to the kitchen instead. And some people are going to go to the altar instead. Some people are going to go... there's a few householders in the audience here. And the book distribution team, it's largely ladies with jobs and homes and kids and occupations and complexities of life to deal with. But somehow or other, they're so inspired, it's lifting all of those other things. And they're really enthused. They're sharp people. So, anyway, encouragement. One last question. Can you pass the microphone forward?
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for a wonderful class. I was just contemplating on Sachusar Prabhu's question, and I get in a different, similar question in a different perspective.
Okay, let's hear it.
Sometimes it's just personally, sometimes it's easy to handle the praise.
Easy to handle
the praise, but a similar line, it's difficult to handle the criticism. So sometimes it does happen that one is following the instruction, what's supposed to be done, but still on the process you get criticism. So how to handle that? I mean, I'm ashamed of asking this question, but I thought it's the right forum to ask.
It's
Sometimes
really
it's
simple.
difficult.
You smile. If you have shelter, the purpose of the shelter is not win friends, influence people. That's material. That's material. When there's the sense of contentment inside, you're contented inside. It's not based upon praise or, the duality of life, honor, dishonor, pleasure, pain, happy, sad. Duality is going to be out there. Haribol. That's a reality. And now, especially if you're successful, you're going to attract criticism. Guaranteed. It's just a rule. Prabhupada said it so many times. He experienced it so many times. He didn't ignore it, but he wasn't affected by it. And I'm going to send a document to Rasamrita, and he's going to send it to you, and you can do with it whatever you want with the community. But it's a document that was found on the wall of Mother Teresa. No, different persuasion, but affectively very fixed. And the whole thing is your question with 6 different options, sometimes and sometimes and sometimes. Be successful anyway. Do the right thing anyway. People will criticize you of having ill motive. Do the right thing anyways. Be successful anyways. After all, this is the punchline. After all, it's not between you and them, it's between you and God anyways. And that's the shelter. And when you have that genuine shelter, it's not dependent upon duality. Praise or defamation, honor, dishonor. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.